In any case, what I'd like to do is actually just start by telling you a little bit about what we're going to cover today. So let me go ahead and share my screen with you. And I'm so excited. Like I said, this is the highlight of my week. So what I want to do is tell you a little bit about what we can expect today. So today we're going to be covering Ivy's hidden tricks. And this is something that I'm really excited to share because what I've noticed when I speak with users, a large majority of my time is spent speaking with users, is that Ivy is totally underutilized by a lot of our community. And one thing about Ivy that we really want to make sure of is making Ivy an efficient system for our designers and something that will help designers actually alleviate their administrative work. A lot of what I hear is, oh, I only do invoices on Ivy, or I only do this, and I still use Excel. And that absolutely breaks my heart because really our goal with Ivy is to make it a one big system that will help streamline various aspects of your workflow. So today, we're going to cover our hidden tricks. And these are the things that are a little bit, as I said, hidden. They can make a big difference on just your day-to-day, and there might be functions that you don't know what they mean or that you're underutilizing them. So we're just going to go through all that together. So this is our global project views, which will be really exciting. Global search function, publishing documents in your client dashboard, project memos and default emails, and all of your account settings like addresses, team member permissions, and of course, our plan. And I do want to mention, if you haven't yet, just speaking of the plan, if you haven't yet downloaded our mobile app, please make sure to download our mobile app and take advantage of it. It gives you the opportunity to track your time and do your task management on the go. It's really amazing. And we are only going to be building that up more. So you definitely want to make sure to send your feedback over to our tech team so that they can make this the best that it can possibly be. But speaking of hidden features and hidden tips and tricks, I want to share my favorite hidden trick with you all, which is our support team. These are my favorite people in the world. They are the bread and butter behind Ivy. They're the ones that you talk to every day. Every single user on Ivy gets a dedicated account manager, one of these amazing people. And if you haven't yet connected with your dedicated account manager, make sure to email support@ivy.co to be connected to your account manager. They really are dedicated to helping designers make the most out of Ivy. So I love them all. They are the best. So definitely make sure, if you haven't yet, ask for an introduction and set up a call with them. But without further ado, what I'd like to do is just dive right in. So like I mentioned, we're going to be covering the hidden tips and tricks and things that you might not already know about, and things that will just help you see your Ivy experience in a different way. So what I've done here is I've logged on to Ivy, and I'm going to click on the top left corner over here where it says projects. And I want to bring your attention to this button that says all projects. And I noticed that a lot of people don't actually know that this button exists. So I want to show you what you can do in all projects and how you can utilize this section. So all projects is exactly that. It lays out everything that's going on across all of your projects. It's a global view of your projects. So here you'll see in the projects tab under all projects, all of the active projects that are in your account right now. And one thing that I noticed when I'm helping some users out is they don't actually know that they can archive projects. They can delete projects, archive projects, so that they don't appear in your active projects anymore, so that they won't appear in the total number of revenue from 2 years ago, a year ago. These are things that we want to make sure that you are only seeing the relevant information, so you can actually really easily archive your project right over here from the projects tab. all you need to do is click on Archive, this little trash can button, and it will be removed from this list. But it's not deleted, it's not gone forever, it's simply archived. It's now out of the way. All we want to see are the relevant projects right now. If we ever want to go through and see any archived projects, like if a client comes back a year later, what a dream, or if they're asking about a piece that you purchased, all you need to do is come back to the All Projects tab, click Projects, and click Show Archived. And just like that, you'll be able to see all of the projects that have been archived. And if you need to restore them, simply click this round button and it will restore it to an active project. Same thing here under this list. You see that little pencil button? Anytime you see a pencil button in Ivy, that's the edit button. So that will allow you to kind of take a shortcut into the edit project page. So you can just click on the button and you're brought to the edit project page right away. Before we get into the edit project, I want to go back to all projects because there's a couple more sections here that are relevant. Actually, this whole thing is relevant. First, you can add a project directly from this page and create a new one. But just like the projects tab, there's a couple other tabs over here. And as you can imagine, we are going to be peeking into all of these documents across all of our projects. So when I click on proposals, I'll be able to see my list of proposals across all of my active projects. So this really gives you a bird's eye view of all of the documents that you have. In this case, you'll see it's listed out chronologically. You'll see the project name, the status of it, whether it's been published, which we'll talk about a little bit later, the due date, balance, everything that is pertaining to your project. And here, you'll be able to also filter through these proposals just by using the search button. So for example, if I'm looking for something from CP only, I could just click CP and I'll find all of my CP remodel project documents right over here. We could do the same thing for invoices. So invoices, same thing, purchase orders, same thing. You can really filter through this page as you need to, whether it's by document number, project, status. And one thing that you'll notice at the top of each of these columns is a little arrow button. And I know it's hard to see, so let me see if I could zoom in a tiny bit. But you'll see this little arrow button, and this arrow button will actually allow you to sort your column by descending or ascending order. So I can click on it like that, and I'll be able to see everything as needed, either by project, if I had document tags, by status. This is what allows you to filter through each category. Okay. And lastly, the purchase orders tab right over here. This will also be able, this is something that you can utilize if you're calling your vendor and you want to know the status of everything coming from Rebecca Atwood. I could just look for Atwood, find all of the POs that I have for Atwood. I could see the status of each of those items and really easily be able to make calls to Rebecca Atwood for any given number of projects. Okay. So this is the all projects function, super helpful, bird's eye view. And if you take online payments through Ivy, which I certainly hope that you do because it just really helps streamline your process from start to finish, check out the payments tab. And I know that mine is empty. Unfortunately, I don't have real clients that I could take payment from, but this is what will actually allow you to track all of the online payments that you've received. So this, a lot of the times I see support questions come in saying, hey, my client paid me 2 days ago. When can I expect to see this in my account? You will actually be able to see that directly in your account by coming to the payments tab right over here. The top section will show you pending payments and it will show you the expected pay date. The bottom section, because there will be a second section over here, will show you all of the payments that you've received to date. those will only be online payments. So any ACH payments or credit card payments that you've taken through Ivy. If you have any manual payments that you want to see, just so you can see all of the payments you've taken across the project, simply click Show Manual Payments, and it's just going to take a second to load here. But this is exactly what it will look like if for online payments as well. You'll be able to see what's been paid to date and exactly the amount. Okay. So that's the first thing I wanted to cover, was really the all projects function, because it does exactly that. It gives you that bird's eye view of all of the different various parts of your project as it pertains to documents, payments, and projects themselves. Okay. So earlier we went directly from this into the edit project mode, which is exactly where I want to go next, because the edit project mode allows you to do a couple of things. So I kind of want to go through the process of creating a project and a couple of the functions that are hidden here that you might not see, but that you should definitely know about. So when I create a project, or if I'm editing a project, I'll be able to see right over here the client, project name, project code. This is really important because it'll allow you to differentiate your document numbers. So instead of looking for invoice 10011, I'll know that seeing invoice CP-10011 will allow me to easily identify that invoice pertains to my CP remodel. This is just a really easy way to stay organized, including a project code. Sales tax, you could set your sales tax per project, and then if you need to, you can always edit it on a document basis. Project owner. Project owner is the person who will, by default, own any document that is created in that project, unless that document owner is changed. So if you have an expediter who's responsible only for doing the purchasing and you want to make them the project owner because they will be creating all the POs, whatever it is, you can just make that right over here. You can assign things to people. Okay, and then what I want to do, I'm scrolling down here because I think that a lot of people don't know that this additional settings tab exists. And I want to show you a couple of the different things that you could do here in the additional settings tab. The additional settings tab, the reason why it's hidden is I've spoken with Helena, our director of product, about this, and it was just kind of overwhelming to have all of these different boxes and functions in the edit project mode. I know we're all about efficiency, we're all about speed, so we really want to just create that project and get it ready to go, and seeing all of these boxes made it a little bit overwhelming. But the additional settings will actually uncover a couple of different things that will help save you so much time. So, and we'll go and we'll see where this lives in the account settings as well. But on a project level, you can actually set default memos for your proposals, your invoices, and your purchase orders, as well as default emails for any proposals, invoices, retainers, or purchase orders that you send out. So this is really helpful, and I highly recommend setting these memos because they could save you so much time. And what I see a lot of designers do, especially in their proposals, their invoices, the proposals, they might include in their memo instructions on how to approve or decline an item, or what to do. Okay, tell me which items you don't like. Make sure to review the attachments, submit your approval, pay your deposit. Whatever it is that you say over and over again, make sure to include it as a memo just to make your life a little bit easier. Your invoice memo. I've seen a lot of designers here put terms and conditions, all sales, final, no refunds on custom orders, sales tax and shipping to be collected at a later time. Whatever it is, I've seen invoice memos from one line to a full page, just really trying to make sure that you don't need to type that in or copy and paste it every single time. Same thing, purchase order memos, just confirming receipt to the vendor. If you have any, if you want the expediter's phone number to be there, for example, just include that, make your life a little bit easier. Project emails, same idea. You'll see the proposal email, invoice email, retainer email, and purchase order email. So you can always expand it to see a bigger view just by dragging at the bottom corner. Right? And then the last thing I want to show you guys in the edit project mode is the accounting and billing settings. And this is new. This is something that was just released 2 weeks ago. And we're really excited about it because previously you weren't able to set defaults for your payment method, for your payment options and payment methods. And we wanted, once again, to just make everything a little bit more efficient. So you can actually set default document settings for that specific project. And these document settings will allow your client to view your markup percentage. Again, it's automatically hidden. This automatically is turned off, but we speak with some designers who prefer to have their markup percentage listed. You can just enable it, and then you will see that your clients have the ability to see the markup percentage. Same thing, if you always want to take credit card payments, allow credit card payments, toggle that on. Bank transfers, same thing. And charge client transaction fee. If you want to, by default, offset the transaction fee of 3% for credit cards and 1.2% for bank transfers to your clients, simply offset it right over here in your account and billing section. And this is something that can always be edited on a individual document basis, just like it was before. But any new documents that you create in this project going forward will have these settings. Okay. So again, this is in the edit project, additional settings, hidden but powerful. Okay. So from here, I'm going to go back into the project, and I want to show you a couple of other functions within the project itself. So one thing about Ivy is we not just want to make a pleasant client or a pleasant experience for you as the designer, we also want your client's experience to be pleasant. And one thing that you can do to increase your transparency from the get-go, or to help your client just stay on top of their billing so that you don't need to constantly hound them, is sharing their project dashboard with them at the start of a project. So the way to do this, right now I'm in my project, I'm in my CP remodel project, and you'll see over here the share link, these little 3 buttons, and you can simply click on it and send this directly to your client's email. And I want to show you what it looks like on your client's end when they receive this email. But this is a really amazing opportunity to share this from the get-go, let them know they can access their client dashboard at any time, and it really will just help streamline your workflow that much more. So the way that it looks like, your client will get an email from your design firm with a nice little message, and all they need to do, they don't need to create any logins. All they need to do is click View Project Dashboard. And this is what they're taken to. So this is the client's view. The client view, you'll notice, only has items that are outstanding, whether invoices, proposals, retainer requests, documents that are closed. So any items that have been paid for, any proposals that have been invoiced, you'll see that over here. And if you've included any attachments to any of these documents, they will live on the project dashboard. So this is a really easy way for your client to not have to dig through their emails and look for that attachment that you sent over, or to ask you a million times, can you remind me what I've paid and what I haven't paid? Here they can access everything at once at their leisure. And we'll get into this in just a second. And Pam, I don't know if you're tuned in, but you had mentioned this on our last webinar, which was really cool. The document tags, which I'll show you once again where those exist, these are really helpful to your client as well, because they can easily see, instead of seeing proposal 10126, what does that mean? They'll be able to see what the document tag is for design fee and product. So they can easily identify the individual documents there as well. Okay, so that's the client dashboard. It's super, super easy to share. But the reason why I wanted to show you the client dashboard is because there's a function in Ivy that's called publishing documents. And it allows you to publish, as it indicates in the word, to publish documents like proposals, invoices, directly to your client dashboard without actually having to send your client an email. And this is really important. I talk to a lot of designers who say they would rather just send their client one email instead of 10 invoices, letting them know that everything is ready to be viewed. And this is exactly how to do it. So let's go through that right now. So the first thing that you can do, I'm in my project itself, and I can click on proposals or invoices. And remember that all projects view that we were looking at the beginning? This is very similar to that, except we are specifically looking at any document pertaining to the CP remodel project. And what this will allow you to do, this proposals tab, this invoices tab, this will allow you to publish documents directly to your client dashboard without sending your client an email about it. Again, this is for some people, not for all people. Some people want that email. Hi, here's your proposal. Others just want wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Add the documents directly to the dashboard and call it a day. So in order to do this, what I want to show you, I'm just going to go to one of my open proposals right over here. And I have an option here to send it. Again, this will take me directly to my normal email client view. But if I click on these three dots right over here, all I need to do is click on that publish button. And again, we are publishing documents directly to the client dashboard. We are not sending it to their inbox. We are just kind of sidetracking, I guess is the word I'll use. And when you publish it on this proposal, for example, you'll see those normal options that you would normally get when you're sending a document to your client by email. First, you'll see a notification. Are you sure you want to publish this proposal to the client dashboard? This will make the proposal available to your client. And because this is a proposal, we have two different options. You can allow the deposit payment, or you can simply request approval only. No matter what you do, approval only will remove those payment options as usual. But allow deposit payments will enable you to select those payment options. Again, remember, you can set defaults in the project so that you could say yes or no across the board. However, in this case, I'm deciding I want to override my project settings and charge the client the transaction fee. No problem. All I need to do is click OK. And this will be published to my dashboard. So let's take a look at what that looks like. It is going to, because I went a little bit down, but I think it was, oh, this one, proposal 10097. Now, if I come to my client dashboard, I'm going to refresh the page, and this is a live link. So everything that you do will appear over here instantaneously. So proposal 10097, right over here, I can enter it, and it's that easy. All right, so that's how it works when you are publishing documents. Again, this can be done from the proposals, the retainers, and the invoices tab. Okay. So that's just one shortcut I want to show you. These little three buttons, anytime you see three buttons, it's a signal. It's kind of like a shortcut menu, so you can publish, edit, PDF. This is just just so you know, anytime you see three dots, that means that there's a menu below it. Okay. All right, Ellie, have any questions come in? No questions, perfect. You guys are staying on top of it. I'm really excited about that. If you do have any questions, make sure to add them via the Ask a Question button, and I'll review them at the end. All right. So what I want to show you now is a couple more hidden things. I'm going to start with the plan section within the project itself. And in Ivy, there's views. There's a project view, and then there's a global view. So earlier we were looking at the global all projects. Just as there's a plan view in the project, you'll see there's also a plan view on the left side. And what's great about this plan view, even more so now, is that we have a mobile app. And the mobile app will allow you to add items, task management items, directly from your mobile phone, and it will sync over to your Ivy account immediately. So what you'll see here, and same thing, if you add something to your Ivy app, you'll see that in your mobile phone as well. So the plan section is really great because any like dates, estimated ship date or receive date, install date, delivery date, anything that you incorporate with a product will be listed here in the calendar section. And you can also create events and assign them to different users. So if you have, like I've kept saying, an expediter, you can simply click a plus button over here, or you can select from the top right-hand corner where it says create. You can create a calendar event or a to-do item. And this is really great because you can assign items directly to one of your team members. So for that expediter, I could say, for example, call Bernhardt, go over POs, pick a due date, and assign it directly to them. And not only will that appear on the to-do list section on the left side, it also makes a calendar event. So it's really hard to not stay on top of your items. And again, we have this on a project level, but also on the global level. So right now we're seeing everything that pertains to CP remodel. If I go into my plan section over here, I'm able to see all of the different to-do list items, all of the different calendar entries that exist across my entire project. Oh, excuse me, across my entire account. And then you can filter down through here. And the reason why I call this a hidden section is because it's super underutilized. You should really capitalize on the fact that you have an automatic calendar that is prepared for you from the dates that you input in the project tracker. And what's amazing about this is you can actually sync this calendar directly to your external calendar, like your Apple calendar, your Google calendar, or your Outlook calendar. So what you would want to do in that case is come here to the plan section on the global function, click the 3 dots, and then calendar integration. And we have a really amazing step-by-step help article in our help center, which will allow you to follow the directions. But our sync would be one way from Ivy to your external calendar. So you could see everything going on within Ivy in your everyday Gmail or Outlook or Apple calendars. Okay. So that's one thing I wanted to show you. And then one of the next things I want to show you within Ivy, our little hidden function section, is I'm going to go into my account. Earlier, we looked at things on a project level in the additional settings tab, and I want to show you where these things exist and tell you a little bit about all of the different parts of the account settings directly in on the global scale. So one thing that you'll see here under account information, which is the first tab that is accessed when you go to my account. If I scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll be able to see your Ivy account information. It will tell you what subscription plan you're on. If you have a limit to the users that are able to be added, you'll see which licenses have been used and which haven't. You're able to upgrade directly from within your account. And if you're looking to purchase dedicated QuickBooks support, you could do that directly from here. All of this information, though, the company details, this is what's used to brand your documents. So any documents that you create, the invoices, proposals, retainer requests, all of that information will be branded with the information that you list here. Okay. Payments tab, that's where you could set up your bank account to take online payments. But go through the team rates tab. And this is really important if you have other people on your team. I want you to understand the different functions that the different permissions that you can enable them to have or not. So when you add a team member, all you need to do is click Add New Team Member. Enter their information, their first name, last name, their role, email address, and their cost. The employee cost is what you pay them. That is not their billable rate. That is different. The cost is different than their rate. And this is good for you to track internally so you can keep an eye on how much money you're paying hourly. And then the different permissions that you can enable them. So essentially, you can enable them to really manage different parts of your project depending on what their level is. If you have an intern that's coming in and you don't want them to have that ability to send documents, here is where you would define that. So let's just go through the different functions. I want to tell you about each of them. So the rates tab, this will allow, if you allow a user to access all rates, this will allow them the visibility to see what you are billing your hours on for and what you're billing other people's hours for. If you decline their ability to access all rates, they will only be able to see their own rates. They won't be able to see anybody else's. Manage employee cost. Again, this is employee cost right over here. If somebody, an office assistant, if you have a project manager, whoever it is, if they need to be able to see this for one reason or another, you can go ahead and enable that right over here. By default, these two are turned off, just in case. And then we break it up to two different sections. So we break it up to client-facing documents like invoices and proposals, and then purchase orders, which are vendor-facing. Because again, I know some firms have an expediter and somebody who's responsible only for vendor-facing items. So if you want your designer to have the ability to view documents like invoices and proposals, they will be able to do so, but not make any edits. Manage will allow them to do all of the different functions like editing, setting a deposit, setting the different functions on that invoice and proposal. And then of course, sending documents. This will enable your designer to actually send these out to your client. So if you have an intern, like I mentioned, who doesn't have that client-facing aspect, you can turn that off, no problem. They will only be able to see it and not actually send it. Purchase orders, pretty self-explanatory, view and manage. You can determine that right over here. And then for the account settings, this is where you can really determine what your designers see or what they don't see. The company settings are those settings that we just saw where you have all of your firm's information, your logo, anything that's appearing on a document. You can set whether they see it or not. Viewing the project dashboard. The project dashboard is that first page when you enter a project, which shows you the revenue breakdowns. It shows you the time billing breakdowns. It shows you anything that's outstanding. So if they work on a project basis and they need to see that, absolutely let them. But again, some people are a little bit more limited. And then global dashboard. And this is what you see when you first log on to your Ivy. This is your Ivy homepage that breaks down the revenues from proposals and invoices. It breaks down your time billing revenues. It breaks down your markup revenues. If you don't want them to see that, you could just decline it. And by default, their homepage will be the All Projects tab. Okay. And lastly, Quickbooks Management. So again, if you have a bookkeeper or somebody else and you're connected to QuickBooks, they should have access to this tab because they will be the ones that are managing QuickBooks. Last but not least, reports and insights. Any reporting functionality on Ivy will give your designers or your team members access to different financial reports. If you don't want to let them do that, simply deny report functions. And then the insights bar is that bar at the top of every page on proposals, invoices, and POs that shows you total outstanding, total markup, and I believe the next one is total paid. Okay, great. I hope everyone's following along. I really just wanted to do a deep dive into the different functions that you might not know what they actually do and what they mean. All right, next, I'm gonna go into the addresses tab over here. And the addresses tab is an address book for you to use across all of your projects. So this, once again, we're all about trying to minimize that administrative work and streamline different functions of your workflow. And one way that you could do that is you can add frequently used addresses. So if you have a receiving warehouse, or if you ship items to your office, or whatever it is, frequently used addresses across your project, you can simply add them over here to your address book. And this will allow you to easily select an address to ship items to on your POs, in your project. You definitely want to utilize this if you have those frequently used addresses, like warehouses, whatever it is. Okay, perfect. So without further ado, I want to open this up for questions. Before I do that, let me just go ahead and recap a couple of the things that we went over. We looked at the All Projects tab right over here at the top. We saw the global view of our projects, how to archive a project and how to restore a project. All of the global views of our proposals, invoices, POs, and all the organization that we could do within. And the payments tab, where we could keep track and check the status of online payments that we receive. We also went into the project itself, and within the project, we learned how to share the client dashboard and publish items directly to the client dashboard. And one thing that I want to mention, which I didn't mention before, is we do have a global search function. We've been going over some global and project-based things. The global search function is this little search bar at the top, and this will allow you to, really easily filter through instead of having to go to a specific proposal list within a project. If you know your proposal number, your document number, for example, if I want to look for document number 1001, I'm able to, using the search function, and see 1001 right over here at the top, both as a to-do item and as a PO. All right. We also looked at the plan, and then we went into the account settings and the project settings. So like I mentioned, I'll open it up for questions right now. And I also want to tell you about one thing that we're hosting next week while I still have you all, or next month, excuse me. Next month, we're hosting Ivy Academy, which is a full day in-person training session and an opportunity to connect with our community, our amazing community of designers. We will be hosting a panel, breakout sessions, discussing better business practices. If you're interested in joining, it's in Irvine, and it will be a full day event. The first one was such a success that we wanted to bring this back. So email me or visit the website that Ellie is posting in the chat for more information. But let me turn it over to your questions. So let me just stop sharing my screen here. How do I do that? Right over here. Oh, close video. Okay, perfect. Excellent. So I see I have a couple questions that came in.
We have a question from Tim.
Uh-huh.
Tim wants to know, once a new team member is added, how can you adjust what they see if it has changed since you created their profile?
Great question, Tim. So I will actually share my screen again. You would essentially edit their permissions directly from where you set them to begin with. So the administrator can go into my account, team/rates, and then you can just click on that specific team member's account and then set their permissions again. And this is also where you can set up their rates. So if they have a new rate for a specific project, for example, you can just set it up directly in the same area. All right.
We have a question from Tara. who wants to know, is there a report you can run on time billing to see the total amount of hours an employee has spent on a specific project?
Yes, Tara, great question. So our reports tab has a couple different reports. And again, you would only have access to this if you have enable access to reports enabled. So what you would do over here is you would simply select the time billing report. You can specify the date range for if you want to see for the last week, for example, or you could say all dates. And remember earlier how we archived projects? You can also include archived projects in this report if you want. Here you can specify the project and the specific designer on your team. Now, it will download as an Excel document for you. So we won't actually total it up. These reports are in Excel so that you can manipulate them as you need to. So you can always just do the sum of the total hours directly in Excel. Okay.
We have a question from Kristen.
Uh-huh.
She wants to know, when you create a project and enter your name as the project owner, is this different from document owner?
Yes. So the project, just in case somebody didn't hear that, Kristen was asking about the differences between the document owner and the project owner. The project owner, by default, will be the document owner unless the document owner is changed. So for example, I'm going to go into one of the proposals that we have in our CP remodel. And I want to show you how you can set the document owner. So I just went into edit proposal, and right over here at the top, you'll be able to select the document owner. And they will be responsible or associated with any item that is now added to this document. So one place that you can see that is in the project tracker. The project tracker will actually show assignee, and that will include the person to which the line items on the document are associated with. All right.
We have another question from Tracy. She wants to know, when sending proposals, can we set the default for approval only, or is it done on a proposal by proposal basis?
Great question. For proposals, you would be on a proposal basis. If you, by default, don't want to take payment on that proposal, so just in case you forget to toggle it to approval only, you can always remove the default of being able to take credit card and ACH payments so that even if you do send it, it wouldn't send it for payment, so to speak. But I do like that suggestion of being able to set the default of sending proposals for approval only. That's a great suggestion.
Tracy has another question. She wants to know, if you use the search logo, I think you mean click global search, to pull up a PO. On the left, what are the little buttons? Top hits, invoices, proposals. How do you use those?
Let's see. Let's do this together. Okay, so what I'm looking at right over here is 10011. Really what's relevant to me are going to be the document numbers that end in 10011. But on the left-hand side, this will show you if this number or this sequence, like 10 or 11 or 00, appears on any of these different documents. So I can click on purchase orders, for example, and I'm able to see the POs that have that. I can click on proposals and see all the different proposals. And the reason why you really want to focus on the one that's highlighted at the top is because this will be the exact match. Everything else will have some variation or some section of these numbers. So for example, as I'm just looking over here, I could see that there's 10101010 all over there. Retainers, same thing, 10101010, which is why they show up. So you can, or if you're like, oh, I have my proposal and it ends in 11, I don't remember the full number, it was just like proposal 11, this will allow you to look for 11 and then look for proposals, for example. Okay. Any other questions, guys?
We have a question from Kathleen. She wants to know if we edit an item with more detailed info, can we do that on the proposal and expect it to save in the product library?
No. Well, it depends if the item has already been added to a proposal. So once you add an item to a proposal, you need to think of it as he's in his own world now. This bar cart is now, any edits that I make will only pertain to this proposal. Once it's been added to a document, it is separated from the product library. So if I edit this here, when it's already been added as a line item, it will not reflect these edits in the product library. Same thing, if you edit a product in the product library and it's already on a proposal, it will not reflect those changes. They are standalone at that point. However, Kathleen, if you add a product, if you create a new product on the spot on your proposal or your invoice, and by clicking add new product and entering this information, the information that you edit here will appear in the product library, because officially you are simply creating a product in a different section. You are not yet adding it to the document. All right. I saw a question also. Somebody asked if if Ivy's mobile app is available on Android. We do have the app on iPhone and Android. And if Ellie hasn't already included the links in the chat, we will send a Help Center article where you can find the links to download the app. And again, this is a beta app. It means it's really limited in functionality. Right now, it's only time tracking and task management. But we want your feedback. We are building a super robust app, which is going to be so awesome. I want to share some of the things that you could do. You'll be able to take images and add them directly to your library on the go. You'll be able to measure a room. There's so many cool things that you'll be able to do, and we are just open to all feedback. So please make sure to download it and send any feedback directly to us. And with that, I think that we don't have any more questions. So first of all, thank you so much for joining me on this Friday afternoon. Next week, next Friday, I'm really excited for it already. We're going to be hosting a Set Yourself Up for Success on Ivy, how to set yourself up for success. Again, one thing that I want to make sure that you know how to do is make the most out of your Ivy account. So I saw recently a question pop up in our Facebook group about somebody was asking, should I link documents? When do I invoice? Should I create a PO? All of these questions are going to be reviewed because we really want you to understand Ivy is a flexible system, but I'm going to share some best practices that I've learned from designers and that I've also spoken with designers about. So make sure to sign up for that. I'm going to just include a link right over here to our Ivy training page. And this is where all of these webinars that I host, they live. You can access them at any time. And again, I will email everybody with a link to watch this webinar and sign up for next week's webinar. So thank you guys so much for joining, and I can't wait to talk to you next week.